I'm 67 years old. I'm American, and I live like a king right here in Krabi on exactly $1,250 a month. And this morning, I'm pulling out my actual bank statement to read it to you line by line. Before I read you a single number, do me one quick favor. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It honestly makes my day, and it keeps these breakdowns coming for folks like you. So here I am. The porch, first light, a mug of coffee going cool in my hand. Out across the water, the limestone cliffs of Ao Nang are just starting to glow that soft gold they turn right before the sun clears them. 4 years ago, this same hour, I was scraping ice off a windshield outside Columbus, Ohio, watching my own breath fog up in a gray that lasted from November clear into April. Now I sit here barefoot in a t-shirt and listen to the water. A long-tailed boat putters out toward the islands, its engine coughing across the flat water. And somewhere down the lane, a rooster's already complaining about the day. Warm air on my bare arms, coffee steam curling up. This is the life the number buys. I just haven't shown you the price tag yet. If you've ever sat with your Social Security statement and wondered how far that check would really go over here this next 20 minutes is for you, I'm not going to hand you a rounded guess or some pretty story. I'm going to read you the page. And I'll tell you now, there's a catch in it. Down at the very bottom of this statement, there's one line, the last thing I spend money on every month, that surprised even me the first time I added it up. It's the one thing folks back home flat out refuse to believe when I say it out loud. I'll get to it. But you've got to earn it, so it's waiting at the end. Now, a lot of you write to me with the same worry, and it's a fair one. Where do I even start figuring this out? The visa, the bank balance, the rent, which town, what a month actually costs from a kitchen table in Ohio, it feels like a mountain. I felt exactly that. So I sat down and put the whole thing in order. Every step I wish somebody had handed me before I flew over into a plain little ebook, the one-way guide. Everything I learned the slow way, laid out the easy way. The links down in the description if you want the full playbook open beside you while you watch. That's where the how-to lives. Right here, I'll show you the what. Let me back up to this morning though, because the number really starts down at the market. Before 7, I walked down the hill while the town was still waking up. A songthaew came rattling past that little pickup truck bus. Wooden benches in the back, somebody's crate of chickens up front, charcoal smoke drifting off the first grills. And on the corner, there's a cart. 10 baht bowls of noodles steaming under a bare bulb, where I get my breakfast most days. 10 baht. That's about 30 cents. And it's hot and good, and it fills me right up. 2 stalls down is Noi. Little woman, quick smile, runs the fruit stand. Under the yellow awning, you can spot that awning clear across the market. She's had that same spot as long as I've been here. This morning, she pressed a mango into my hand before I even asked, waved off my coins, and said, "Same price 4 years, boss." Same price, 4 years. Sit with that a second, because it's the whole thing right there. In 4 years, that mango hasn't budged. My rent hasn't budged. My noodles are still 10 baht. Meanwhile, back home, you know exactly what's happened back home. The check lands the same, but the eggs and the gas and the doctor's bill keep creeping up while the dollar quietly shrinks in your pocket. Out here, the ground holds still under my feet, and that stillness is the whole secret. Steady prices here, a shrinking dollar there, that gap is how a modest check turns into a king's life. Do the math in your head as I go. I want you arguing with me by the end. Every line I read, hold it up against what that same thing costs you right now, wherever you're sitting. Because here's the real question, and I know it's the one already in your head. How does a man live like a king on $1,250 a month, less than what a lot of Americans hand the bank in car payments alone? It sounds too good. I'd have said the very same thing from my old kitchen table. The answer isn't a trick. It's right there on the page. So here's the statement in my hand, and the very first line is the one every American gets wrong before they ever get here. The rent on a bright 2-bedroom, a 10-minute scooter ride from those cliffs. Watch what it actually says. 13,700 baht. About $380 a month. That's the whole rent on a bright 2-bedroom. 10 minutes on the scooter from those limestone cliffs, the ones lit up gold across the water in Ao Nang. Every morning, I open my eyes. 2 bedrooms, tile floors that stay cool under your feet, an aircon unit right there on the living room wall, and a little balcony where I take my first coffee and watch the cliffs come up out of the dark. A plain studio outside Columbus. Parking lot view, no cliffs anywhere, 1 room, and a hot plate used to run me more than triple that. Same man, same check, 1/3 of the rent, and 3 times the life. And that's just the top line on the page. Now, folks always ask me about the electric first, because they hear aircon in the tropics and picture a bill that'll eat you alive. So, here's the real one, straight off the slip, from the hot month April, when the aircon's humming half the day and most of the night just to make sleeping bearable. 1,800 baht. Call it $50. That's it. $50 to stay cool while the sun's out there trying to cook the whole coast? A single warm week back in Ohio running the central air in the house cost me more than that whole month does here. Water's the one that still makes me laugh out loud when the little slip lands on the table. 290 baht for the month, about $8. I actually keep those paper slips in a drawer because nobody back home believes me when I say it. $8 for a whole month of showers, dishes, the lot. That's less than the service fee alone on my old water bill in Ohio, before they ever charged me for a single drop out of the tap. Internet's next, and this one surprised me more than any of them. 650 baht. $18. This fiber line running into the apartment is faster than anything I ever paid for back in the States. I stream a ball game at 2 in the morning. My team a whole world away. Clear as a bell, no freezing, no spinning wheel, no little circle of doom. $18 flat, month after month. And you know how I pay all of these? I walk them down to the little shop on the corner. The electric, the water, the internet, I hand the slips across the counter, the girl scans them, I'm back on the scooter in 4 minutes flat. No portals, no passwords, no hold music. That took some getting used to, in the best way. Now food. This is where jaws hit the floor, and I really do mean it. I cook a little at home in the mornings, but most evenings, I wander down to the night market, and you can smell the charcoal smoke a full block before you ever see the stalls. Grilled fish laid right out on the grate. Curries bubbling away in big blackened pots. Fresh mango and pineapple stacked up shining under the lamps. I eat like a king down there, and I'm not being cute about it. Grilled sea bass one night. A green curry so good it near made me cry the next. Fresh fruit every single day of my life now. The whole month of eating, home, and market both comes to 10,800 baht, $300. For the whole month. If that's less than 1 grocery run back home, do me a favor, type your city down below, because I want to see it. Getting around's almost funny. I've got a second-hand Honda scooter, paid off years ago, parked right outside the door in the shade. I fill the tank, I cover the little annual bits, and the whole year of running it works out to 2,200 baht a month, $60. Back home, I was handing the oil companies 400 and some every single month, just to keep a car fed and insured in the driveway. $60 here, and those cliffs are a 10-minute ride away whenever I feel like it. Add it up with me so far. You feeling that number move yet? Because here's what the page looks like now. Rent, power, water, internet, food, the scooter, all the everyday living, the stuff that runs your life whether you notice it or not. It's all down there in black ink, line by line, in baht and in dollars, the way you'd read your own bills over a cup of coffee. And here's the thing that got me the first time I sat down and did this. My numbers hold still. Year after year, Noise Mango costs the same today it did 4 years back. Meanwhile, that dollar back home keeps shrinking. buying you a little less every single trip to the store. So that's the everyday living, all of it on the page. But 2 lines are still blank, and they're the 2 every retiree writes to me most worried about. What happens when you need a doctor out here, really need one? And whether a man my age can still afford anything just for the pure joy of it. Those 2 are next. And one of them is the line I promised you back on the porch, the one nobody back home ever believes. So let's fill in that first blank line, the doctor. This is the one most of you brace hardest for, and honestly, I don't blame you for a second. Back home, one bad month with a hospital could swallow a whole year of your savings before you'd even seen the bill. I lived with that fear for 30 years. Out here, my health coverage is a solid expat insurance plan. 3,960 baht a month. $110. That's it. That's the whole peace of mind, sitting right there on the page next to the electric and the water. And it's not just a card tucked in my wallet either. A few weeks back, my right shoulder just seized up on me, slept on it wrong, reached for something too fast, who knows at my age. So I walked into a little clinic a few streets back from the beach here in Ao Nang. No appointment, no waiting room stacked with clipboards and forms. A calm, young doctor had a look, worked the arm over, and sent me home with something for the ache. 800 baht. $22, walk in, and I was back out in the sunshine inside the hour, good as new. That's the line every single one of you writes to me, terrified about. And that was all it was. Now, the second blank, the fun. The part everybody swears an old man on a fixed check has to give up when he leaves. I'll tell you straight, I didn't give up one thing. Twice a week, I lie down for a real Thai massage. A full hour of somebody patiently working 4 years of gray Ohio winters right out of my back. And I walk out feeling 20 years younger, add my little coffee runs down by the water most mornings, and all of that together comes to about 3,200 baht, $88 a month, for pure joy. I keep my old American phone line running to $12 so my daughter back in Cincinnati can ring me like I'm just across the street. And I set aside a travel and fun fund, $222 for the weekends. I decide to hop on a long-tail boat and ride out to the islands, the engine chugging, the water gone, that impossible shade of green. All right, grab a pen. We're adding this up together out loud right now. Read it down with me, slow, the way I read my own bank statement over my morning coffee. Rent on the bright place near the cliffs, $380. The electric in the hot month, aircon, and all 50. Water, 8. Internet, faster than I ever had back home, 18. Every bite of food for the whole month, 300. Getting around town on the scooter, 60. My health coverage, 110. The massage and the coffee, 88. The phone, 12. And the island fund, 222. Now, add that coffee bleeding all the way down, $1,250 a month. Not a rounded guess. Not somewhere around 1,200 and something. Every last baht on that page, named and accounted for. The exact same number I said to you in the very first minute. Out here on this porch, with the cliffs still soft in the morning light, and now it's proven, in ink, right in front of you. And here's the one I promised you way back at the start. The last line on the page. The one nobody back home ever believes. Look back up that column at the fun money, the massage, the coffee, the boat rides out to the islands. Roughly $310 of it. Pure luxury. The stuff I do for no reason but that it makes me happy. You want to know what that same $300 was back in Ohio? That was my cable bill and my streaming subscriptions. Nothing more. The channels I flipped right past. The services I forgot I was even paying for month after month. Go look at your own cable bill tonight. Then look at that number again. The pure luxury of my whole life out here, the hands easing my shoulder, the long-tail boat, the good strong coffee by the water, costs me less than the television I barely bothered to watch back home. So, there it is, the whole page. And I didn't lay it all out to show off my quiet little life beside the limestone cliffs. I laid it out because that life is yours too, if you want it. Look at what actually lands in your account each month. Your Social Security check, your pension, whatever the figure is. Now, hold it up right next to that column. 380 for a bright home, a scooter ride from the water, 300 to eat like a king off the night market, 110 so a doctor is never once a thing you lie awake worrying about. The dollar back home shrinks a little more every single year. You can feel it. Out here, it just stands still and stretches out and finally lets a man breathe. $1,250 a month. That's the number. That's the whole life. The cliffs are going gold across the water while I fold this statement back up in my hand, and I'll leave you with just this. What I read you tonight isn't a dream, and it isn't a wish. It's arithmetic. So, do me one favor before you sleep. Sit down at your own kitchen table, pull out your own real numbers, and run the column your self-rent, food, the doctor, a little joy. Add it up, out loud, the way we just did. I've got a feeling you're going to be surprised just how close this porch really is.